Okay, so this is exactly what it looks like. This is the Kermit the Frog Project. This is a puppet that I constructed of Kermit the Frog. His head's currently stuffed right now, but you can wear and operate him like a puppet. I've got a little armature wires. You can control his hands, but that's sort of not important right now. I've got most of the video intact of me putting this together, of me creating this. So I can show you what I did, and you can follow along at home if you were so inclined. But I don't have any video of me constructing the body. As you can see, the inside here is sections of XPS foam, extruded polystyrene, that I shaped into a vague cylinder. It's actually more like a decagon, like a 10-sided shape, and then it's all taped together and hot glued together. And I don't have any video of that, but I have video of most of the rest. This green felt is from a puppet supplier. Link in the description, and this is their frog color, so I'm pretty confident that it's the right color. I have video of the rest of this, so let's cut to the video and the voiceover. Okay, so the first thing you're seeing here is me putting together some hands. That's just little thin sheets of plywood and then some of the extra felt that I had. You can see that color green looks pretty accurate. That is their frog color product that I purchased. Sanding that, getting that ready. This project really ended up turning out really well, and I'm really proud of the result. Again, making some hands. I'm drilling some holes for some fingers, which I end up using very small paneling nails for basically the bones of the finger, that I then subsequently wrapped felt around and glued together to look like hands. There you can see my sort of finger and thumb setup. Kermit does have 4 fingers and a thumb. So that's what I've got there. There's 2 of them. All set, ready to go. Those arms that you see me holding right there, those are just strips of felt that I folded over onto themselves and sewn together. Nothing too fancy, not really worth filming. And then I'm basically just trying to pin them into place so I understand so I'm able to address the entire form, and yeah, see, you can see here, I'm like, this is me thinking, yeah, that looks pretty good. We'll just go with that. See my sewing kit there. That's just a cheap sewing kit I got from Amazon. Inside the arms, you can see there's nothing rigid. Actually, the bones in his arms are unmelted hot glue sticks. They're just the regular melty hot glue sticks, and I'm basically putting some dowel pins in there. You can see it right there, actually. Putting some dowel pins in there to act sort of like arm bones, and that gives it a certain noodly quality that Kermit's arms have, and that really ended up going really well. Here's me attempting to figure out how to cover the hands in green felt to make it look believable and complete. This took me quite a while. This took an entire stream, as a matter of fact. What you're seeing right here is actually, we streamed this whole process of me building these hands. It took me 2 hours or so. Kind of getting everything in place and using the hot glue to kind of tack things together. And then doing some trimming. We're going to see a lot of trimming here going forward as I kind of put things in place and then trim it back. Personally, I love the Muppets, and that's kind of why this ended up being on my list of potential projects. I hope to eventually make a full set. After this, if we end up making another Muppet, we'll make Miss Piggy and Fozzie and all sorts of things. I hope to have the whole cast just hanging out because I think it's neat. And that's kind of the reason I did this project, because I think it's neat. So in order to attach the hands to the arms, I basically used just a brass pin and glued it all together to make it set right against the wrist. You can see me doing something here called picking the felt. Basically, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to pull out the individual strands of felt in order to hide the seams. And that's something I learned looking at a lot of people making puppets online. That felt is a very forgiving medium in that respect. All of the stitching that you see here is basically just really simple in and out stitching, but the face, because it's going to be the most visible, is done with using what's called a Henson Stitch. And you're about to see me do that right here. What a Henson Stitch is basically going, I'm going to attempt to describe this, but going up through the bottom and then up through the bottom on the other side, and then stitching it in such a way so as when you pick it later, it basically hides the seam as much as possible. And it's called the Henson Stitch because named after Jim Henson, who made Kermit and made the Muppets, and had to find a way to hide the seam, you want to hide the marks that it was made, and instead, because you want Kermit to sell as a I don't know. Do we want Kermit to sell as an organic being? I don't know. Maybe you're trying to provide an illusion, an opportunity for illusion and immersion for kids. And if you can hide the maker's marks, then maybe that lends more to that. Doing some stitching, I'm constantly checking against my hand because everything from the body and the arms and the head, everything is based off my forearm, so that I could wear and operate it comfortably. You can see there on the bottom left, I have my paper pattern that I started to make two halves and then sew them together. And yeah, okay, this is me looking at some reference, and these are some foam sheets to make the inside of the mouth. Pretty straightforward. You can get the gist of it just by looking at it. What you're looking at is actually the first draft of this process. I went through and did a second draft off camera to attempt to make it more accurate or make it fit the mouth more correctly. So you're actually looking at the first draft. This is not actually the final one, but you get the gist of it. It's just a matter of looking at the reference and making very fine adjustments, and looking at the reference and making fine adjustments. Trying to figure out how to sew this in at a certain point, because you don't want the edges of the foam to be visible. Again, trying to sell an illusion to the audience. Okay, this is me attempting to build some eyeballs. Those are literally just ping pong balls. At this point, I've sewn the head more to make it a little bit smaller, so you can see it fits around my hand a lot more. There's a lot. Here's the thing about the eyeballs. The eyeballs are probably the most important part when it comes to selling this illusion. Hello. when it comes to selling this illusion, because that's what, their eyes. That's what the audience will be drawn to look at. And if the eyes aren't placed right, it's not going to sell. So I'm really putting it all together, trying to figure out where are these eyeballs going to go. Like where do they look the best? Hello, I'm Kermit the Frog here, and trying to figure out what's going on here. So this is me. I'm looking at the camera. Here's some painted eyeballs. Putting together some pupils, some of those black marks that Kermit has for pupils. Working long into the night, it would seem. See, I'm placing one because I'm trying to attempt to decipher how to space them on either side of that seam that's going down the middle of his forehead. I keep looking at I keep putting him on to look at myself, and I look at it far away and close by, and I put it on the head. Hello, and that looks pretty good to me. And you can see this is where I'm really just trying to get a sense of, is this right? Do I need to redo this? Yep, that looks okay. And even from right here, I can see that looks okay. I need to work, and this is me going through doing some final adjustments. I'm picking the felt that make up the seam in the middle of his head. Doing some adjustments. See that right there? That looks good to me from here. From me sitting here in this chair doing the voiceover, that looks really good. And doing some more trimming. I'm going to pop in here on video and give a little bit of info. So I'll leave you for a moment for the voiceover.
On your Pac-Man Genesis voice.
I can't speak like that.
Well, you try.
Okay, so, it's not perfect. The head's a little wonky. Yeah, the head's a little wonky, and also the hands are a little wonky, but he can wave, and, his body is vaguely the right size, and he can move around and do stuff, and make weird face, and look annoyed, like Kermit does. Needs a collar, but, generally speaking, it's not bad, it's pretty close. I had gone to Joann's Fabrics in an attempt to find the right color felt for his collar. I was really having a hard time finding that right color. This is a lime colored felt that I'm using for the collar. Basically just kind of vaguely sizing it to the right size, sewing it together, cutting it out, and putting it on. It's really not any more complicated than that. I was really ready to be done with this project. One of the philosophies in project doing that I have is you don't want to let the perfect be the enemy of the done, and that it's always better to move on to the next thing instead of sitting here perfecting this thing that won't ever be perfect. At a certain point, you have to decide, this is the best I've done, this is the best I can do with the resources I have at my disposal. And resources can be a lot of different things. It can be time, it can be physical resources, it can be wherewithal, it can be cognizance, it can be philosophical, it can be esoteric. Like, we do the best we can with the stuff that we got, with the resources at our disposal. And at a certain point in the project, I always get to the point that's like, okay, I'm kind of ready to be done with this, and if we want to redo it later, we have that opportunity. We always have the opportunity to come back and make another Kermit the Frog puppet if I'm end up not happy with this one. I am happy with this one, but that's sort of the point. I just tack this on with hot glue, nothing too complicated. You can see that his neck is splitting open, so I'm going to have to re-sew that back together. But that's something I've done at this point. And it's at this point that I've taken it around and I've shown people, and I've went around and talked to people as Kermit. And the main thing that I've noticed is that my hand is not quite big enough to fill out the entire head. And so in order to put it on display, I'm going to have to stuff it. And just putting some stuffing in his head to kind of fill out the rest of the head to make it sell. But at this point, it sells as Kermit the Frog, and I'm quite proud of it. And you're going to see sort of the final couple of stages here, the final bit of trimming and the final bit of making it look presentable as sort of the home stretch here. But, I mean, from here, that looks like Kermit the Frog. I'll tell you what. This is me sewing his neck back together after it had split, and then this is me finally putting the head, tacking the head into. Oh dear. Well, the less said about this part, the better. Oh dear. Yeah, this is me. I've stuffed the head at this point, and I'm just kind of putting them together for display. And I'm about to turn him around here and smile to the camera, and that looks pretty good. That's pretty cool. Hey. There he is. Kermit and Graham hanging out. Kermit and Mr. Warden. I don't know. It's kind of cool. Right? And that's Kermit the Frog. Hey guys, what's up? But yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. This is just one of many projects that we're working on. This one's done. We're going to move on to the next one. But stay tuned. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff for more project videos. Because we do all sorts of different stuff, not just puppets, not just sewing, not just fabric, but machining and 3D printing and personal fulfillment and all that kind of stuff. So, if you like projects and you like learning, then you're in the right place. And, I don't know, stay tuned.